Now, getting you closer than anyone else can. Your Backstage Pass.
At a big North Dakota Classic Country KSJB, welcome to Tommy Overstreet. Tommy, it's good to have you with us this afternoon.
Bob, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Well, it did. You know, Billboard always considered Dot Records as a independent record label. They didn't consider it a major record label. So they weren't going to give a number one record to Dot Records because of that. And in the history of Dot Records, they only had like 3 number one records, and they just couldn't help but give it. I think the Hilltoppers had one called P.S. I Love You, and then Roy Clark had one shortly after I had Gwen, and then I think Pat Boone had one on Dot. So, you know, it was kind of crazy, but I was with Dot Records from 1968 until 1979, nearly 1980, and during that time I had 7 number one records in various other trade papers at the time: Cashbox, Record World, Gavin Report, various other things, and 26 top 10 records. So, and I recorded, I had 19 chart albums for them. And by the way, I meant to mention to you, I have a little bit of a tie to North Dakota now. My band leader, when I moved out west and left Nashville after my mother passed away, we moved out here to my wife's home state of Oregon. And a friend of mine who I'd been writing songs with for a long, long time lived in Idaho Falls, and he introduced me to a musician friend that had a recording studio there, and a really good guy, and we have become very good friends, and he's my band leader. His name is Rick Trolson, and he's a good Norwegian guy from North Dakota. His mother still lives outside of Stanley, North Dakota, and I think she's even listening today. And Miss Margaret, how are you, darling? Love you.
Oh, really?
And anyway, Rick, I think he's listening too. You ornery guy.
Well, you know
anyway.
what? That's great that they can be listening, and they could be listening either on KSJBAM.com or in Cashbox Magazine under radio stations. I want to get to...
They told me they were going to listen for sure. So.
Well, I think we should get to some of the Tommy Overstreet hits, and this is one we want to... this is the one that you started your career out with. Did you start out, actually? Was this one of your first, Gwen? Congratulations.
Well, actually, I had several releases on Dot before. I think I'd had 3 releases, and everything I've ever recorded hit the national charts, but it was never the first record I had was the song called "Don't Get the Paint on You," which was kind of a weird title, but it bounced into the charts and stayed there in the low 50s. And then I had a thing called "Watching the Trains Go By," and it bounced in and stayed there for a while. And then I had a thing called "Rocking a Memory That Won't Go to Sleep," and it stayed 16 weeks on the charts and never made it past number 50.
Gosh.
So anyway, then I recorded this song called "Gwen, Congratulations," which was written for me by a real nice young man by the name of Jerry Gillespie, who wrote many other hits, and I was just thrilled that Jordan Ayers said, "Tommy, you got a number one record," and I said, "Oh, that would be nice," and it turned out it was.
Was "Gwen, Congratulations" one of your very biggest?
Well, it was the first number one record that I had, and Record World and Cashbox and Gavin. Billboard, I think, took it up to top 5, but that was about it.
Well, Tommy, let's listen to it. Let's listen to "Gwen, Congratulations." Is that all right with you?
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
We're going to do it right now. Here we go. Tommy Overstreet, "Gwen, Congratulations." Tommy, I'm sorry it just kind of stopped there for a moment, but we got it going again. That's
no problem. That's kind of sounded like I was maybe in a club somewhere, and they had a little something going on, and I had to stop for a moment and start back up.
Well, you know, that's the good part about live radio. We never know what's coming up next.
There you go.
Oh, goodness. Let's see. Well, you've got a couple of more here that we're going to listen to, too. Now, "Heaven Is My Woman's Love," that was a mega hit, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I remember I flew in I was in Las Vegas appearing at the Landmark Hotel, and I had just closed a successful 2-week engagement, and they called and said, we need to get a new single put together. And I said, okay. So the boys hopped on the bus, and they were driving back to Nashville, and I flew back to Nashville and flew in, and they played me some songs we had to record the next day because I had a couple of other things I had to do, and they played me this song, and I said, that's a #1 record. And so we recorded in RCA's old B studio where Elvis used to record and a lot of other people recorded, and my producer really kind of put that on the last one on the session, and I knew it was a #1 record, so I pushed it a little harder, and I told him, I said, we got to get this done, and so we got it done, and I made a prediction. It lost its bullet 3 times, but it made it to #1. It earned me 4 gold records, and I love the song. It was written by a good friend of mine. We lost him about 1.5 years ago, but his name was Bob Millsap, and a real nice guy, and in fact, he produced 5 albums on me for Elektra Records, so really a nice fella, and this is a great song, I think. It's called Heaven Is My Woman's Love.
Yeah, let's listen to Heaven Is My Woman's Love. Bring some memories here. It's a great song, and then in memory of your good friend, Bob Millsap. How about that?
That's great. Thank you very much.
Here it comes.
Heaven is my woman's love.
Tommy Overstreet, Heaven Is My Woman's Love. Tommy's my guest this afternoon from Oregon. Those songs never get old. They just improve with age, Tommy.
Well, bless your heart. That's very nice. Nice of you to say that. I'm very proud to have had the opportunity to sing great songs, and I appreciate the songwriters that wrote them, and I appreciate the fans that loved them and the disc jockeys that played them. I've always felt that I was a very fortunate gentleman. Having had the opportunity to do what I love to do, and there again, it's being part of the American scene. I mean, being able to do what you want to do, and I mean, I'm a very fortunate guy. I get up in the morning and I enjoy going to work. You know, I mean, there's a lot of men out there that are saddled with jobs that they really don't like. In fact, there are some men that hate them, and women too, I guess. And I'm very fortunate in that I enjoy what I do and have a good time doing it. And in fact, the older I get, the more I seem to enjoy it. So it's kind of neat.
You're always the first to know. Backstage Pass.